She texts a billionaire by accident. What happens next will transform her life forever. Emma's phone buzzed at the worst possible moment, interrupting her struggle to coax 4-year-old Lucy into bed. The clock read 9 p.m., and the whirlwind of bedtime stories and soft tussles had spiraled into chaos. "Just one more chapter, Mommy," Lucy pleaded, her bright eyes betraying the exhaustion weighing on her tiny frame. Emma scrolled through her notifications hastily, heart racing with each missed call. "Sorry, Sarah. Instead of meeting this Saturday, I've been drowning at work. I swear I'm losing my mind." She hit send without a second thought. A few moments later, the response arrived. "No problem at all. Could use a break too. Jack." Confused, Emma stared at the name. Who was Jack? Just as she opened her mouth to ask Lucy, another notification pinged, pulling her back into her disarrayed life. Struggling with long shifts, her world felt grimly suffocating. Here she was, a dedicated nurse, a single mother, unrelenting in the pursuit of two things: her daughter's happiness and stability in a crumbling reality. Yet, lurking beneath that gorgeous smile, she felt the heaviness of hidden dreams, dreams stamped out by each flat tire of responsibility. As the night spiraled, a strange curiosity enveloped Emma. Who was this billionaire Jack that somehow encouraged her through a random, unintended text? Seized by spontaneity, she replied, "Is that really your name or a clever cover?" Tension electrified the air. Would he ignore her or engage? He chose the latter, and thus began a whirlwind, filling spaces where silence had previously reigned. Their small talk revealed a startling intimacy, each reply flickering through their contrasting worlds. He spoke of extravagant events from which he had retreated, chasing authenticity rather than the glitz that glittered him isolated. Emma's heart twisted painfully as she read his words. She thought of the pressing bills, the paint peeling in her modest apartment, and the internal anguish of narrowly dreaming of a better life. Yet here he was, a man at the top, yet yearning for something real. She questioned her worth, the emptiness creeping in. Could she aspire to more when every moment felt like a weight crushing her spirit? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma couldn't shake the idea of applying for that prestigious position she'd caught wind of at the local university, a research role that felt like a far-off beacon. Hope flickered for a moment, igniting dreams nestled deep within, only to be snuffed out by fear. What if she was navigating towards failure? As doubt clouded her mind, remembering the fateful text exchange with Jack breathed life into her dreams. It ignited an ember she hadn't felt in years. But every giggle from Lucy, every need and care felt like chains anchoring her to the familiar. As she faced discrimination at her new job, bearing the disdainful glares from those who dismissed her as merely a nurse without a leg to stand on, despair shadowed her ambitions. Anguish coiled tight inside as she wrestled with the longing to shield her daughter and the fire to fight for every overlooked soul. Just when she faltered at the brink, Jack reminded her of her worth. His words echoed louder than the disillusionment around her. But standing at a precipice, the stakes were higher than ever. Would anyone still recognize her, old identities crumbling? Would she be ready to navigate this pivot without losing the very essence of who she was becoming? Emma stood at the edge of her uncertainty, a riptide of ambition battling a tide of self-doubt. She had always been a caregiver, sacrificing so much of herself for Lucy. But as she contemplated that university position, she felt an urge to reclaim her identity, to step into her potential. The dialogue with Jack swirled in her mind. His vulnerability inspired her courage, nudging her towards the dream that lay dormant. But would she dare to leap? The pressure of her reality pushed down heavy. Evening shifts at the hospital drained her of energy, but they also provided stability. She took a deep breath, but the air felt stale, the heaviness within her chest impossible to ignore. Could a single text message from a stranger really make her question the trajectory of her life? The following morning, she found herself brewing coffee without thought, staring out the window as dawn broke. Sunlight filtered through the trees, sending gentle beams across the walls of her modest kitchen. It was a calm before a storm, familiar but unsettling. What would Lucy think? Would her mother's aspirations pull them apart? She shook her head, dispelling the doubts. Instead of answering her own questions, she decided to frame them differently.
What if Lucy grew up witnessing her mother chase her dreams with fervor? Renewed resolution swelled as she brewed another cup. The thought of applying for the university role sparked a powerful cascade of emotions. Was it time to submit her application? That quiet voice, once silenced by responsibility, now resonated loud and clear. With each sip, she felt more determined. Emma opened her laptop, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Each blank line reflected her fears, yet also her potential.
This was no longer simply an application. It was her chance to redefine who she was. The new Emma could merge ambition and motherhood, face challenges head-on, create a new narrative. Yet names and accolades seemed distant, like shiny baubles out of reach. As she began to draft her cover letter, every sentence turned into a confrontation with herself. The nerves coiling in the pit of her stomach dictated retreat, urging her to shelve the notion. But her thoughts drifted back to Jack, who had faced personal demons and emerged yearning for something genuine. If he could push through his own struggles, why couldn't she embrace her own aspirations? Time slipped away, and finally, with the sun sliding behind the horizon, Emma hit send. A wave of exhilaration buckled her knees. She had plunged into an unknown current, but it felt liberating. Still, as she closed her laptop, a shadow loomed nearby. Her phone buzzed again. Jack's name flickered across the screen. "Hey, Emma, just checked in to see how your week is going. Hope you're not losing your mind already." The casual tone ignited a question inside her. Could she unveil her recent decision to him? Would sharing it strip away the magic of their banter or sprinkle in newfound depth? She found herself staring at her reflection in the window. The searing determination now mingled with uncertainty. Emma replied cautiously, "Just took a leap today. Applied for a job that might change everything for me." After hitting send, her heart raced as she faced the impending response, an unsettling blend of anticipation and vulnerability. Should she have revealed those intentions? As the seconds turned into minutes, anticipation morphed into anxiety. Just as the phone buzzed again, hope flared within her. The moment of truth arrived. What would Jack think of her step? Would he support this ambitious side of her, or would their connection fall flat as the realities of both their worlds collided? "Emma, change is daunting but exhilarating. Tell me more about it." But beneath his encouragement, hidden tensions brewed. The fabric of their connection was tight, woven with unspoken issues. Everything was leading to one climactic confrontation. Emma realized this was her opportunity to intertwine her ambitions with her personal life. The stakes had escalated. Realizing her heart raced not from fear, but from the notion that this was just the beginning, Emma grasped the full weight of what was before her. She was not just a nurse or a single mother. She was a woman on the precipice of discovery, daring to merge her new dreams with her intertwined life. And as Jack's words settled in her consciousness, a whisper of fear slithered back into her mind. What if she wasn't prepared for what her aspirations would require? What if Jack, once a source of encouragement, became the reminder of her struggles? The path was still being forged, and she had to confront not just the fear of failure, but the possibility of transformation. Would she step boldly into this unknown territory, or would she allow the familiar chains of doubt to pull her back? The next move would define her all over again. The bright morning sun spilled into Emma's kitchen, warming the air, yet leaving her feelings cold with uncertainty. She had taken the leap, but stood now in the shadow of what lay ahead. The exhilaration of sending off her application still buzzed in her veins, yet doubt clawed at her thoughts, threatening to unravel her resolve. What if she hadn't just taken a step toward her dreams, but set forth a cascade of complications? The reality of her roles loomed large, sitting like an anchor in her chest. The quiet hum of the coffee maker was a stark contrast to the turmoil inside. Each day, she dedicated herself to Lucy, her job, and the monotonous rhythm of both. But was there room for aspiration in the small universe they had created? She paced the kitchen, the wooden floor creaking beneath her feet. What would her daughter think? Would she see a brave mother, or would she feel abandoned by the pursuit of something outside the familiar? Emma closed her eyes, envisioning Lucy's face when she brought home books filled with her own ideas and dreams. That thought provided a glimmer of hope, pushing her to break the cycle that confined her.
But then came the fear of failure, an omnipresent shadow whispering doubts. What if she wasn't good enough for that position? What if she applied only to be rejected, stuck forever in a cycle of ambitions unfulfilled? These thoughts spiraled, taunting her, as she grabbed her notebook and began to jot down her goals. One page turned into two, and soon her aspirations spread across the lined paper, each word breathing life into her ambition. A community-focused research project, she wrote, her pen flowing unrestrained. Workshops for aspiring nurses flowed onto the next line. The aspirations piled up, radiating the possibility of what she could foster, not just in herself, but in others. Yet with each scribbled note came the weight of doubts. Would anyone listen? Would she be taken seriously? Emma gripped the pen tighter, seeking clarity rather than succumbing to fear. What if she could build something that uplifted others, reflecting her own journey while creating a legacy for Lucy? She decided to share these plans with Jack, a half-formed idea slowly crystallizing in her mind. Their conversation shared laughter and vulnerabilities. Perhaps he would recognize the significance of her ambitions. A message popped into her mind, and without hesitation, she texted, "I started writing down my ideas for the new role. I think this could be bigger than I imagined. Want to talk?" As she pressed send, a rush of adrenaline coursed through her. In that instant, she felt lighter, unshackled from her doubts for the first time that morning.
She didn't just want to inform him, she wanted to collaborate, to launder her thoughts through someone who understood ambition. With every heartbeat echoing in her ears, she waited for his response. Minutes dragged on, her mind darting in loops. What could Jack contribute? Would he provide the reassurance she needed? But even more importantly, Emma reflected, would he understand her journey? When her phone buzzed, she snatched it up, heart in her throat. "Absolutely. Let's meet up tonight. I want to hear all about it." Relief flooded over her, but hesitation followed closely behind. Reflecting on Jack's encouragement, she wondered if she could allow herself to be more than just a single mother or a weary nurse. What if his interest wasn't just rooted in ambition, but entwined with a deeper connection? Or would it reveal the fractures in her carefully constructed life? The day blurred as she contemplated meeting with him, the anticipation of sharing her vision igniting her heart, yet fear prickled at the edges of her excitement. Emma prepared herself throughout the day. Working her shift at the hospital, her hands moved on autopilot as her thoughts raced ahead, questioning everything about Jack's motives. Was he leaning towards professionalism, or was there something more profound behind their exchanges? With each comment he made, did he find fascination in her courage, or was it merely a friendly nod to her ambitions? That evening, as she stood before the bathroom mirror, the glow of her reflection caught her off guard. This was no longer just about career aspirations. It was about her growth as a person, capable of stepping into spaces she had overlooked for too long. Steeling herself, Emma realized. This moment was a crucible. Tonight, she would talk openly with Jack, ready to face whatever collateral might come with revealing her true self. The woman under layers of motherly instinct, transformed by her ambitions. As she got ready to leave, something inside her quivered. Would this be the moment everything changed, or would she retreat back into her comfort zone? Emma paused, absorbing the weight of the evening ahead. Tonight, she would confront not just the industry, but her own limitations. And with that thought, the door began to close on her past insecurities, while an exhilarating uncertainty stretched before her. She felt alive, ready to embrace this conversation and whatever it might bring. Yet she couldn't help but wonder, was she ready for the evolution that awaited, even if it meant unraveling her carefully crafted facade? The thought echoed through her mind, igniting anticipation and fear in equal measure. She took a deep breath and stepped out, embodying her commitment to the new path ahead. As Emma stepped into the cool evening air, her pulse quickened. The familiar sounds of the city, cars honking, people laughing, and the distant murmur of conversation drowned out her worries, if only for a moment. She walked towards the cafe where she'd arranged to meet Jack, each step a mixture of eagerness and trepidation. This was a turning point, an opportunity to unveil her ambitions. While she navigated the bustling streets, thoughts swirled in her mind. What exactly did she want from Jack? She needed feedback, sure, but potential realities. As she entered the cafe, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her. Jack was already there, seated at a corner table, looking relaxed yet attentive, as if he had been waiting for this moment all day. Their eyes met, and he smiled, that encouraging grin easing some of her anxiety. "Hey, you made it," he said, motioning for her to sit. Emma settled in, her notebook resting on the table like a nervous companion. "Thanks for meeting me."
she said, her voice steadying as she leaned into the conversation. "I wouldn't miss it. I'm eager to hear what you've been working on." Jack's enthusiasm sparked an ember of confidence in her. This was it, the chance to communicate her vision clearly. Emma opened the notebook, breath catching slightly as she revealed the pages filled with her ideas. She started with her community-focused research project aimed at empowering aspiring nurses. As she spoke about the initiative, weaving in her personal stories and the immense challenges she faced, she could see Jack nodding with genuine interest. "Why do you want to do this?" he asked, his eyes searching hers. It was a question she had anticipated, but now felt charged with unexpected significance. "I want Lucy to grow up thinking ambition and dreams are achievable. I don't want her to feel confined to a certain path. I want to show her that she can forge her own way, no matter how tough it gets." Jack leaned back, studying her more intently. "And what about you? Where do you fit into this?" The question pierced deeper than she expected. Emma hesitated. She wanted to articulate that she was also refashioning her own narrative, stepping into her identity beyond just a caregiver and nurse. "I need this, Jack. I need to build something that not only lifts others but also fulfills me. I won't just be a mother. I'll be someone who contributes." The words tumbled out, raw and invigorating. Their conversation flowed seamlessly, interspersed with laughter and moments of reflection. Emma felt the uncertainty that plagued her just hours before begin to dissolve. But as the evening wore on, the conversation shifted subtly. Jack shared stories of his own aspirations, revealing his own struggles and doubt. The more they talked, the more Emma began to see the fabric of his ambitions woven with vulnerability similar to hers. Just as she began to feel connected, he leaned forward. "You realize," he said carefully, "you have something unique to offer."
You're not just dreaming, you're planning and executing. Most people don't do that. Her heart raced at the validation. It was like he had stripped away the layers of insecurity that had been shrouding her. She felt empowered, but with empowerment came a nagging question. What did this connection mean? "I'm glad you think so," she replied, a smile creeping onto her face. "But I'm still a little terrified." "Terrified is good. It means you care." Was he right? Could she view fear as a sign of her commitment rather than a roadblock? Find her less than her vision for the future. As they prepared to leave, Jack paused. "I know you're somewhere on the precipice of something huge. Whatever it is, don't forget you have support." The resonance of his words lingered, registering within her. Emma stepped outside, the cool night air wrapping around her like a promise. But as she felt that burgeoning sense of agency, a thought hit her. She had been so focused on the professional landscape that she hadn't examined the personal risks. What would it mean to navigate her ambitions without losing the relationship she was building with her daughter? With that awareness, everything seemed to amplify. The excitement of her plans clashed with the realization of the complexities of motherhood. Just when a spark of hope ignited within her, another layer of conflict thrummed to life. Would she be able to disentangle her dreams from mothering, or would they weave together in a way that compelled them both forward? As she turned to walk away, a decision lingered in the air, heavy with potential. The time had come to confront not just her fears of the unknown, but the implications of pursuing her ambitions, on herself and on Lucy. What awaited her in the following days would demand all her courage. Would she rise to the challenge, or retreat once more into the shadows of her old life? As Emma walked home, the images of her conversation with Jack played in her mind like a looping film reel. The cafe's warmth had given way to the biting chill of the night, but the remnants of her excitement kept her senses aflame. Jack's words reverberated within her. "You're not just dreaming, you're planning and executing." These affirmations ignited both confidence and uncertainty. Could she really blend the identities of entrepreneur and mother into something cohesive? That night, sleep danced just out of reach. As she lay in bed, she wrestled with her ambitions and the responsibilities that tethered her. Each swath of darkness seemed to conjure doubts that played like an uninvited guest at a gathering. It distracted, prowled, and ultimately disrupted her peace. What if she failed? What would Lucy witness through the lens of her ambitions? The next morning, she settled into a routine that felt painfully familiar, but a flicker of determination sparked within her. She made breakfast while mentally reviewing her notes from the cafe. The idea of her project, which began as an outlet for her passions, now felt like a bridge connecting her dreams to her reality. The thought sparked a new resolve. She realized she was not just building for herself, but also for Lucy, creating a landscape of possibilities for her daughter. After dropping Lucy off at school, Emma ventured to her local library. The place had always been a refuge, a haven for ideas and exploration. Today, however, with a purpose in mind, she felt its walls pulse with potential. She gathered literature on leadership, community development, and navigating entrepreneurship as a parent. The more she read, the more a plan began to crystallize, a structured approach to her endeavor. No longer would she drift merely on hopes. She would meticulously plot a course. Yet, as the days passed, Emma found herself caught between motivation and the emotional weight of motherhood. After a long day of brainstorming and reading, she sank into the couch after putting Lucy to bed. The quiet spaces in her mind were filled with guilt. She recalled moments lost to late-night planning or early morning meetings. Did this pursuit truly honor her role as a mother? Could she nurture both aspects without neglecting the other? One evening, as she flipped through her notebook, she scribbled down her conflicting emotions, letting them pour onto the pages. What once felt like a vicious tug-of-war began to transform into an intricate dance where each step mattered. Perhaps her project wasn't a distraction, but an addition, teaching Lucy resilience and ambition through her own journey. Reinvigorated, Emma reached out to a few local organizations to share her proposal. As she awaited responses, she faced an unexpected situation. A wrong text message, sent to an unknown number, set off a series of events she could never have foretold. The number belonged to a billionaire entrepreneur she had read about. Confusion morphed into disbelief as her anxious fingers tapped out an awkward apology. Little did she know, the engagement would set her on a path of unforeseen challenges and opportunities. As she realized the potential of her unexpected connection, a sense of urgency bubbled to the surface. Could this mistakenly sent text lead to a breakthrough, or would it entangle her further in the complexities she was trying to untangle? The uncertain course ahead demanded she confront her fears head-on, not only as a dreamer, but as a mother who was not afraid to seize chances. Turning the page of her notebook, Emma reaffirmed her resolve. The moment had arrived to embrace the chaos and uncertainty that life had to offer. Could she rise to this challenge? With every heartbeat echoing her doubts and desires, she prepared herself for the tumultuous yet exhilarating journey that lay ahead. Would she harness this unexpected twist in her story, or would it turn into yet another distraction from her goals? The sunlight streamed through Emma's kitchen window, casting a warm glow over scrambled eggs and toast. Yet, as she spooned Lucy's breakfast onto a plate, a tight knot settled in her stomach. Her mind drifted to the text, a connection that had felt so erratic yet compelling. What had initially seemed a reckless mistake now loomed over her like a beacon of hope or a ticking time bomb. After rushing Lucy off to school, Emma found herself standing in front of her computer, hesitant fingers hovering over the keyboard. She had debated drafting a follow-up message to the entrepreneur, whose name swirled in her thoughts. Was it too forward to reach out again? Did she really want to drag him into her chaotic world of budding aspirations? Deep down, though, the desire for connection won out. She had to take the plunge. A 2-second decision could potentially open doors. With every word she typed, doubt clawed at her confidence. Would he view her as just another dreamer fumbling through the rough edges of ambition? She hit send, a rush of adrenaline coursing through her veins as she let herself imagine the possibilities that could materialize from this seemingly insignificant mistake. Her phone buzzed almost instantaneously, the screen illuminating with his name. A rapid-fire series of emotions flooded her as she read his response. "I appreciate the honest apology, and I'm curious about your project. Let's chat." Her heart raced. This was real. This was an opportunity. Then came the inevitable wave of self-doubt. What did she really have to share? How could she articulate her vision to someone who likely navigated boardrooms while she juggled toddler tantrums and grocery lists? With shaky hands, she opened her notebook, determined to refine her proposal before their scheduled call. Days flew by in a whirlwind of preparation and anxiety. Emma pored over her outlines, positioning her ideas through the lens of both entrepreneurship and her identity as a mother. It was significant to weave these two worlds together, but the fear of inadequacy loomed larger than ever. The night before the call, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Amid her swirling thoughts, one question became prominent. Could she translate her heartfelt vision into words that resonated with someone steeped in the business world? The stakes felt impossibly high. She had come this far. The gulf between her dream and reality had narrowed to a point, yet it scared her senseless. When the moment arrived, Emma set her laptop on the kitchen table, taking a deep breath before dialing his number. The familiar and comforting scent of her vanilla candle wafted around her as she waited, her heart pounding in rhythm with the ticking clock. His voice carried an unexpected warmth when he answered, disarming her momentarily. As they talked, Emma found herself exchanging hesitant yet honest thoughts about her vision. She described the bridge she aimed to build between entrepreneurship and motherhood, her words spilling out in a vibrant flow that both surprised and exhilarated her. Suddenly, she wasn't just engaging with a successful entrepreneur, she was sharing a piece of herself, her fears and dreams laid bare. Just as they were wrapping up the conversation, he dropped a question that shifted everything. "Why do you think you deserve this opportunity?" The gravity of the inquiry struck her, but with it, a surprising clarity emerged from the depths of her mind. She realized her answer wasn't simply about the worthiness of her project, it was about the essence of who she was becoming. As she articulated the profound connection she felt to her ambitions and her daughter, a surge of confidence coursed through her. This was her moment, and she resolved not to waver. As the call ended, Emma felt a shift within her. She wasn't just a mother or an aspiring entrepreneur, she was becoming a powerful force in her own story. But as she reveled in this newfound confidence, another text pinged her phone, veering her focus back to reality. This one was from Lucy's school, announcing a parent meeting she had nearly forgotten. Just as the thrill of her connection faded, the pressure of her responsibilities crashed down like a wave. Would she manage to balance her burgeoning aspirations with the demands of motherhood, or would she buckle under the weight of conflicting roles? The tension stirred by the unexpected notification lingered, pulling her thoughts in different directions. Turning back to her notebook, Emma realized her journey was far from over. The real question remained, could she sustain this momentum and keep evolving amid life's familiar chaos? The following morning, Emma woke with the weight of conflicting responsibilities pressing down on her even before she opened her eyes. Listlessly, she brushed aside the remnants of sleep. Her mind instantly triggered a cascade of considerations. The parent meeting looming later that day, her work on the proposal, and the nagging questions of her competency that still echoed from her recent call. With a deliberate effort, she pushed herself out of bed, dragging her feet towards the kitchen. After filling the kettle, she reached for her notebook, a small lifeline in a sea of chaos. As the water boiled, she reviewed her notes, reflecting on the potential blessings her chance connection could yield. The conversation had sparked an embers of determination within her, but as reality crept back, self-doubt doused those flames. Every thought about the meeting had her second-guessing her presence or relevance among the other parents, those she quietly admired for their professionalism and poise. After dropping Lucy off at school, Emma found herself sitting in the empty parking lot of the cafe where the meeting was to take place. It was a charming little spot, but her nerves felt enormous and unwieldy, feeding on her insecurities. Was it really so bad to seize opportunities? Suddenly questioning whether she was truly cut out for any of this, Emma's breath hitched. She was back to questioning whether she deserved to pursue her dream at the cost of her duties as a mother. Shaking her head, she recentered her thoughts. Recalling the previous night's phone call, she felt a small spark ignite in her belly. This meeting could also serve as an opportunity, not merely a duty. Couldn't she connect with those parents just as she had with the entrepreneur? Couldn't they inspire her rather than intimidate her? Resolute, she grabbed her notebook and entered the cafe. As she settled at a rustic wooden table, Emma recognized that for her ambitions to grow, she would need to conquer her fears in real, tangible ways. The room buzzed with chatter, and she cast her gaze around, mothers with their smartphones, engaging in animated discussions. But were they fully present? Was anyone grappling with the same internal conflicts? Among them, she spotted a familiar face from the school, a fellow mother named Grace, who always radiated confidence. As the meeting commenced, Emma couldn't help but admire Grace's ability to command the room. Words flowed from Grace effortlessly, punctuated with expertise and insight. The group suddenly turned to Emma, asking for her ideas on a shared initiative they were considering. The familiar fears of inadequacy pinged in her chest again, but this time, instead of retreating, she leaned into it. She took a deep breath, collecting her thoughts. "I think," she began, surprising herself with her steadiness, "we need to leverage our unique strengths. As mothers, we balance so much, including our aspirations. We should focus on creating programs that empower both us and our children, things that inspire our kids to dream bigger." The room erupted into chatter, the air suddenly charged with energy. Emma felt the shutters of her self-doubt begin to crack open. She wasn't just a participant, her voice mattered. They engaged in a lively discussion, pushing back against her ideas but also building on them,
and she felt part of something bigger than herself, a true merging of motherhood and ambition. By the time the meeting ended, Emma felt buoyed by an unexpected exhilaration. She exchanged numbers with Grace, and as she walked out into the crisp air, she realized that she didn't just balance the weight of motherhood and her dreams, she was beginning to redefine them. However, as her spirit soared, a nagging thought lingered. If she was finally finding her voice among peers, what would happen next? Would she face more fears as the entrepreneur's impending interest grew more solid?
Would the balance of her chaotic life tilt as new opportunities beckoned? With her notebook clenched tightly, Emma suddenly felt a creeping urgency to act, to harness the wild inspiration pulsing through her. The internal question resonated loudly now. Could she continue to break through barriers, or would she falter at the next challenge? The answer remained on the horizon, tantalizingly out of reach. Emma's exhilaration was short-lived. The weight of reality returned to crush her soaring spirit as she made her way home, each step heavy with anticipation and doubt. Thoughts collided in her mind. It felt like the universe was handing her opportunities. Yet here she was, a self-appointed gatekeeper, fearful of saying yes. Once home, she threw herself into her daily chores, but the energy of the meeting lingered, unfurling in the corners of her mind. The notes she had taken burned brightly, a mixture of goals and aspirations, glimmers of what she could accomplish. As she washed dishes, she thought about Grace, the woman who seemed to transform her fears into fuel, leveraging every ounce of her confidence. Did she carry a secret recipe for self-assuredness? Later that afternoon, as Lucy returned from school, Emma's mind drifted from the mundane. Lucy, full of youthful optimism, shared her day's adventures. Each word from her daughter's mouth ignited a warmth within Emma, a reminder of what her dreams were truly about, empowering not just herself, but the next generation. "Mom, can you come to the class show next month? It's going to be amazing." Lucy's eyes sparkled, but Emma hesitated. That date coincided with a deadline for the proposal she had started to draft, a chance to showcase her ideas alongside the entrepreneur whose vision seemed to align with her own. Emma's heart quickened at the thought of disappointing her daughter. "I'll figure something out," she reassured Lucy, but the words felt hollow. Her priorities seemed tangled, a web of guilt layered over an ambitious heart. That evening, she opened her laptop, a symbolic act that pushed her to confront the proposal. The screen stared back, a stark reminder of the blank spaces she needed to fill. Words didn't seem to want to spill from her fingers. She closed her eyes, letting frustration wash over her. "What do I even want?" she murmured under her breath. In that moment of quiet, an idea rippled through her mind, one that mixed her new confidence with a mother's hope. She didn't need to choose between Lucy and the proposal. What if Lucy became a part of this journey? The thought sparked a rush of determination. Emma grabbed her notebook, jotting down plans that combined both aspects of her life. The more she expanded the idea, the clearer her vision became. She could create a proposal that integrated her ambitions while still being present for Lucy, a joint project that empowered them both. But as she wrote, the weight of what lay ahead pressed in. Would her approach be seen as too ambitious, too chancy? She could hear the whispers of doubt echoing in her mind. Was she really qualified to initiate something so bold? Hours slipped by, and as the shadows deepened outside, she realized the proposal needed to reflect her authenticity, not merely fulfill an expectation. This revelation prompted her to take a leap. She would include her experiences as a mother, the challenges, the victories, and the tremendous value they brought to her vision. The following morning, with a notebook resting in her lap, Emma sent a text message to the entrepreneur, bold, unfiltered, a reflection of herself. "I'd like to share an idea that merges my vision with what I hope to empower in other mothers." Whether it bore fruit or not, the act of reaching out felt empowering, a step toward authenticity she never knew she craved. But just before she hit send, her phone buzzed. A text notification from an unknown number popped up, paired with a business inquiry that threw her heart into a tailspin. What if this unknown opportunity leads to something grand? She wondered, teetering on the precipice of her aspirations. She felt her heart pound, tension wrapping around her like a vice. The choices laid bare before her felt like a doorway opening to possibilities she hadn't even fathomed. Would she step through, face the unknown, or retreat to the safety of familiarity? Emma breathed in deeply.
the decision looming heavy in her mind as she prepared to step once again into a larger world, one she was beginning to define for herself and Lucy. The moment of truth beckoned, and Emma knew she was on the verge of not just redefining her narrative, but also confronting a new reality. Would she nurture the embers of opportunity or let them flicker out? Emma hesitated, her finger hovering over the send button. This simple act of sending a text held all the weight of her conflicting ambitions and uncertainties. The unknown number still blinked on her screen, taunting her with the mystery of potential opportunity, and the quickening pulse of excitement pulsed alongside her trepidation. Could this be the breakthrough she had yearned for, or just another dead end? After a long moment of internal debate, she clicked the button. The decision felt electrifying, like casting a line into a dark pool, not knowing what would rise to the surface. Minutes ticked by slowly as Emma paced her living room, her mind racing with possibilities. What if they accepted her idea? What if it propelled her career forward in a way she'd only dared to dream? Or perhaps it would result in embarrassment, a reminder of her inadequacies. The duality of hope and dread twisted together, creating a visceral knot in her stomach. In that anxious limbo, she picked up her notebook again, flipping through her hastily scribbled notes. It all felt more relevant now. Every point of her proposal was an echo of herself.
She began to scribble anew, refining her thoughts with fervor to ensure that she'd be prepared for whatever came next. A loud ping broke her concentration. It was a response. Her heart raced as she read the text, scanning the concise words for clarity. "I love your idea. Can we discuss it in detail?" A wild thrill surged through her. There was no denying it. This was progress, a step towards something greater. But as exhilaration mingled with dread, a new wave of self-doubt crept in. Would she be able to articulate her vision on the fly? What if she stumbled over her words, letting her chance slip through her fingers? Emma took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. Suddenly, she realized the crux of her fear. It wasn't just about impressing someone else, but about feeling worthy of that opportunity. The realization hit her like a flood. She was ready to confront her past hesitation, ready to own her narrative, and not let the enormity of the moment suffocate her. "Let's set up a meeting," she typed back, with surprising decisiveness, and sent her reply without faltering. In the days that followed, Emma meticulously prepared. Each night she would stay up late, crafting not just the structure of her ideas, but also infusing them with her authentic experiences as a mother. It became clearer than ever that her journey was an essential facet of her vision. However, amidst this flurry of productivity, the thought of Lucy loomed large. Would she be able to balance both aspirations? Emma mentally ran through solutions, listing how she could involve Lucy in small ways to mesh both her goals and her responsibilities as a mother. Her daughter had proven to be a well of energy, rich with creativity. One evening, Emma sat across from Lucy as they colored side by side. "Sweetheart, what if we created something together? Something that could help other moms, but also involves the fun things we love to do." Lucy's eyes sparkled. "Like a game or a story?" "Exactly, a story," Emma laughed, the thought igniting her enthusiasm. They brainstormed, crafting a framework that combined their ideas while weaving Lucy's playful spirit into the fabric of the proposal. But the joy carried a shadow. Every proposal means risk, and every risk evokes the potential for failure. As the meeting day approached, Emma's pulse quickened. While she felt a sense of control, the lurking worry that she might collapse under the weight of high expectations weighed heavily on her. Finally, the day arrived. Emma stared at her reflection in the mirror, her heart thudding in her chest as she straightened her blazer. Amidst the excitement, she felt the flicker of uncertainty. As she stepped into the meeting space, a sleek, modern office flooded with light, she realized this was far beyond just a business proposal. It was her opportunity to bridge the gap between who she was and who she wanted to become. Taking a deep breath, she walked toward the table filled with faces that represented her hopes and fears intertwined. Would she find her voice or falter under scrutiny? Suddenly, the door swung open, and in walked someone else, a surprise presence that could shift everything Emma had prepared for. In that moment, she faced the most pivotal choice yet. Would she embrace the unexpected or feel threatened by it? Emma surpassed her trepidation. The unexpected arrival sparked something deeper within her, a reaction spurred not by fear, but by the thrill of new challenges. This was a pivotal moment, like a voltage surge igniting dormant ambitions that demanded attention. As Jack entered the room, an air of familiarity enveloped her, igniting a mixture of nerves and relief. He caught her gaze and offered a reassuring nod. Somehow, knowing he was there grounded her in an exciting new way. It felt serendipitous, as if fate had steered both their paths towards one shared purpose. As the meeting commenced, she noted how Jack interacted with the group, his insights surging forth effortlessly, showcasing the passion she had grown to admire. Each anecdote threaded a deeper understanding of ambition into the room, lighting a fire within Emma. She realized his presence wasn't merely a comfort, it was a dynamic reminder of collaboration, an element she needed to embrace. When her turn arrived, her heart raced, but it was different this time. Instead of battling doubt, she felt invigorated by the opportunity to share her vision. "What I'm proposing is a project that aims to empower not just mothers, but our children," she began, her voice steady and confident. The very act of melding her professional aspirations with her identity sparked a vibrancy that shone through her words. As she spoke, Jack's approving glance fueled her confidence, transforming her fears into an exhilarating authenticity. "I want to show my daughter that pursuing dreams is a celebration, not just a bitter grappling with the stakes of responsibility." The room fell silent, captivated by her credentials, her desire, her reasoning. She tossed in her plans about integrating children in discussions, creating art that reflected their ideas, and uplifting community engagement. With every idea shared, she felt barriers crumbling, the invisible chains of doubt and expectations falling away. When she finished, the energy shifted. The room buzzed with enthusiasm as they exchanged ideas and expanded on her project. For the first time, Emma realized she wasn't fighting for acceptance. She was standing tall, undeniably owning her space. Each nod, each smile from the group wrapped around her like a victory banner. She was achieving something more profound than she had just moments ago envisioned. Questions came pouring in. They were hungry for details, eager to build upon her concepts. Jack joined the conversation seamlessly, highlighting collaborative opportunities that could extend her reach.
Her heart surged. This was more than just a proposal. It felt like a merging of their missions. By the meeting's end, Emma felt extraordinary in ways she never anticipated. Finally, they turned towards her for a wrap-up, recognizing her passion and potential impact. "Emma, it's clear that you're a driving force for change, but I also sense that your unique perspective inspires those around you. Let's move forward," one of the board members claimed. As she made her way out the building, Emma reveled in the sweet intoxication of achievement. But beyond the proposal and merger of ideas, there was something more tangible. Her confidence was no longer an aspiration. It was solidified through shared dreams and veering connections. It was in that exhilarating moment that Emma embraced a profound realization. She didn't just rewrite the narrative of her life's ambitions. She painted an entirely new canvas, blending motherhood with unyielding aspiration into a masterpiece that would ensure her daughter never felt burdened by dreams, but encouraged to pursue them. The clock in the cafe ticked softly in the background as Jack caught up with her and shared that he felt inspired by her vision. "You proved that ambition can coexist with nurturing," he said, a warm admiration in his tone. "I have no doubt you'll shape something incredible." As they walked side by side down the bustling street, Emma felt fully present for the first time in ages. She wasn't just a nurse, a struggling single mother, or even an aspiring entrepreneur. She was Emma, filled with potential, clarity, and direction. Indeed, she had achieved not just a job proposal, but a new foundation to build from, an unshakable belief in herself that would permeate every aspect of her life. The layers of worry and sentiment clouding her spirit evaporated. She was poised to conquer not just her ambitions, but also to showcase resilience to her daughter. As they said their goodbyes, she felt lightness register within, a lingering echo of everything she had fought for. She had transitioned from doubt to belief, an individual transformed, embodying goal-driven purpose with grace. Emma placed her hand on her heart. She felt grounded, ready to lead the journey, unwavering and empowered. In this exhilarating conclusion of her transformation, Emma posed a profound wish, not only for herself, but for every aspiring individual facing similar challenges. She would remember her journey, not just for its struggles, but as a chronicle of a woman who dared to blend family and ambition without apology, a testament that courage reignites when fueled by authenticity. The unmistakable revelation echoed through Emma's mind. The life she had once defined by sacrifice was now one forged by agency and vision. And with that clarity,
she turned onto her street, ready to embrace the world, not just as it was, but as it was meant to be.
You need to subscribe now to follow Emma's journey further into her remarkable transformation. This is the moment to show your support by smashing that like button and feeding the algorithm. Don't wait even one more second to share this empowering story with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Comment below with your reactions and theories about what Emma will achieve next.